So basically all I've been doing so far today and since the last time I filmed, I've just been painting the skull base. And I didn't film any because honestly it is a complicated paint job, but it's very subtle, so it pretty much would have been like 4 hours of time-lapse footage that you probably wouldn't have noticed much difference. Because it is a lot of dry brushing and texturing and yeah. So I'm gonna call the skull done for now, and now I'm going to work on the metal parts. I didn't want to do those first because, as you can see, like there was so much dry brushing on the skull part that it just would have coated any paint job I did on the metal pieces. So I'm going to work on painting those now.
One name now?
Yeah, and you're right in my filming.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, nice one.
Hello, folks.
There, the main helmet part is actually now all finished. So as you can see, the metal tubes and stuff are all painted, the lines on the teeth are on, the antenna blades are all painted, and then of course the main skull part is all finished as well. Yeah, that is the finished look. I am going to need to spray it like a protective coating on it, so I'm not going to take the tape off of the visor yet. But what I think I'm going to do now is grab the Electro Ripper. I need to paint certain parts of it, like it is mainly that silver color, but there's kind of like some more gunmetal and darker metallic colors on it, so I'm gonna go and paint that, and I think also at the same time possibly work on the actual helmet blade, like the detachable blade pieces that are there. Or at least look at making the templates for the stripes that are on those. Also, before I take the, of course you can't see anything right now, before I take the Electro Ripper out, I realized I never showed you this. So yes, I got the lights installed, got the tubing on that. So yep, that's all good to go. I figured it was easier to show you with the lights off. Yes, I'm going to go paint this now that I've shown you the gimmicky part of it. So I haven't done too much today. I mainly worked on sanding the van braces and all the blades and primed those because it's supposed to be really humid the next couple of days, so I wanted to get those primed and started while I could still spray it. And the other thing I did was I coated the helmet in the protective coating, which means I can now remove the tape. Alright, so I have the helmet blades all taped up now and ready to get their stripes painted on them. So I did 3 coats of the blue paint and then let that dry and then remove the tape and masking film and all of that. I of course realized after I removed it that some of you might have liked to see me filming removing it. It was quite satisfying to watch, so sorry for not filming it. But yes, that's what those are looking like. I do need to scruff them up, possibly add some darker metallic paint on them, but I think I'm going to do that tomorrow. The other thing that I have on my list to do tonight is template out this knee pad piece. So, of course, you can't really see. I think I've mentioned this before, maybe. I templated out the other one and I haven't built it yet, but there's this other piece that's on the outside of the knee pad that I was going to template up so that it's all ready for me to build tomorrow. Bit of a later start to the day, but I'm outside now. The first thing I'm going to do is flip these guys over and do some primer on the back sides of them. And then while that dries, I am going to be scruffing the helmet blades up, and then I taped up the Electro Ripper lights again because I'm going to try and use some darker spray paint on this top part to get it the right color, because I'm getting dangerously low on like my gunmetal paint and they don't make it anymore, so this is the fix-it to that problem. Alright, so the blades are all sanded down and they're ready to go back inside to get some more silver paint put on them, just to give some dimension to the metallic. I sanded those, but what I'm actually going to do now is finally build this side piece. I didn't actually do the template for the side of the knee pad piece, so I'm probably going to do that kind of at the same time. So it's a lot later now, but I did finally get the drawing for the side knee pad piece drawn up. As you can see, literally you can see this in one picture, and other than that I am completely using the figures for reference. So these are kind of just rough, that's kind of like a rough shape just so I can get the dimensions and like the actual shape of it a little more accurate. Obviously a side technical drawing doesn't give a 3D view of it. So that's what those are. I'm going to build that tomorrow, and I think that's actually going to be it for tonight. So I will see you in the morning. Good morning! As you can see, the Electro Ripper is in the studio standing up right now. What I did last night, and I'm not sure if I showed you this before, but I added some darker black nickel paint in the handle, and then last night I added these copper stripes, and then this morning I added this band piece, which is a piece of cording that I just painted for a detail piece, because there's a piece like that there. And yeah, I'm going to take this outside to scruff it, but I'm going to need to spray it before I start adding the cording and the beads and stuff, and I'm not going to be able to do that tomorrow because it's pouring rain outside, and of course it means it's too humid to spray things. That is the story of this costume. Yeah, but there's that, and then out here, let's traverse the studio. Out here there are the scruffed up helmet blades that I have repainted, like added more metallic detail into them, so they're all ready to be finally sprayed too, but again, can't do that today because it's too humid. So today I'm going to be mainly building stuff, so I'm going to take you outside and we're going to get started on that. Alright, so I just cut the lines in this. I don't think I've actually ever shown this, but basically I ordered the 3D printed greeble things, which are like the beads. I'm sure you'll see them in this video because I think I'm painting them tomorrow. I'm pretty sure that's what's on my schedule to do. So I'm sure you'll see them later. But basically I ordered the 3D printed beads to attempt to save me some time, because if you look at them they are quite detailed and you need 25 of them, I think. So it would have been a lot of detail on many things, and like I'm sure you can tell I've been doing everything else and I've got enough to try and do, so ordering the 3D printed ones pre-finished, like molded, was going to save me a lot of time. So yes, ordered those, and for some reason they also sent me the chest box, which I didn't order. I was planning on making this, but hey, it is accurate enough. I just made some modifications, and I will be making some other modifications, but it's a great base to start with. But yeah, so just put the lines in those, like cut out the things because the speaker is going in here for the voice changer, which I also don't think I've mentioned or shown. But yeah. That's that. Also, I wanted to get that out here because I'm hopefully going to be working on some bone pieces and I'm going to need to scale to that. But right now oh, the other thing I did is, I don't think I showed this yesterday even though I finished it, but today I just put some loops on the back so that I can actually attach it to my pants. But yes, got that little side leg piece thing finished, and now I'm going to be working finally on the knee pad piece. So here's the rough piece. That is 2 thicknesses of my thicker foam that I beveled the edges on, and then a couple of doweling pieces that I burnt some holes in. I also cut out a part of the knee pad so that it would fit in better. And now I'm going to add these warbler rings and then kind of figure out how I'm going to attach this onto that and then cover it all in warbler probably. Alright, so here is the finished piece all installed on the knee pad, and that's all done now, so now I can start wood gluing this entire thing to smooth it out. And now I'm going to start working on drawing up the bone pieces that kind of attach to this. Okay, so here's the rough bone piece template. I'm sure it doesn't really make any sense, but basically I tried to put in the layers because obviously I need it all to fit together. So obviously I need this entire thing be one piece, but then this piece is going to be a raised piece of foam, and there's going to be another one on top, and then I'm going to be like sanding it so that it all fits. And then there's like these like weird divot points too. So I'm gonna attempt to now build this. So I made 2 other templates off of this one just because I didn't want to cut this one up in case I need it. So that's the first layer and that's the second layer. And then I also cut these pieces, which are going to kind of be like the base, out of some warbler. But these 2 are going to be my thicker foam, so this stuff. So I'm going to trace these onto that and get those cut out, glue them together, and then start shaping them with my Dremel. So there is the first one done. I just thought I'd show you the difference between the 2, and now of course the always interesting challenge of making the one match the other. Alrighty, there are the 2 finished ones. This one might be a little jumpy because it's thunderstorming out and I have the garage door closed, so I have no forewarning for when thunder's going to happen. So that has been interesting. But yes, going to now cover these in warbler. There are the 2 pieces covered in warbler, and that's actually all I'm going to be able to do out here for the night, and so I'm going to head inside and work on some other stuff. So it's a bit later now. As you can see, I'm inside. The knee pad has gotten its second coat of wood glue on it as well as that, so that should be good to finally spray that tomorrow. But tonight, what I'm actually going to be working on is figuring out the beads that are on the Electro Ripper. So there's kind of these like 2 strings of beads, and so I'm going to figure out exactly how many beads I need and which sizes out of these 2 that I'm going to need to use as well. Well, that was interesting to figure out. It took me like 10 minutes just to try and figure out whether there were 2 or 3 strings of beads. There are 3. So I ended up drawing up a diagram because that was going to be the easiest way to figure out exactly how many I needed. So I kind of decided on the 2 main sizes. But then there's these like weird one-off beads, and it's just, yeah. I should really be painting them tonight, but I think I'm just going to go to bed. So I will see you in the morning. It is, as very specifically mentioned in my calendar, spray day. Because the humidity is finally good, so we are spray priming and painting and doing a whole lot of spray work today. So the first thing on the agenda is getting the front side of the van braces gray. Part 1 is done. Part 2 is to get the first layer of black spray primer on the first side of the leg blades. All of that stuff's going to need to dry for a bit, so I'm actually now going to do the layer of protective coating on the back side, or the first side of the helmet blades. And I don't think I've mentioned this yet in any of the Project Enfys videos, but I'm actually using this spray to protective coat all of the props and stuff. It's actually what I use for most of my paintings. But it's like not a super glossy finish. It's kind of like satin, or just, it's very natural looking, but it obviously still protects the paint, so that's why I'm using that. So just thought I'd mention that in case anyone was interested. Alright, so I added, I'm pretty sure I showed you the final versions of both of these with the warble on them, but I added loops to the back of them this morning so that they can actually attach onto me. And then I also sanded the wood glue on the knee pad and the other leg piece, so I think I'm going to now spray prime those as well. Alrighty, so it's a bit later and they are now basically dry. I just moved them up there to get them out of the way for now. I got the Electro Ripper down, the first side of that is sprayed, and then I just turned the knee pad and the leg piece over to get the other side a little bit. But then the bone pieces and the leg blades are all sprayed as well. So what I'm going to do now, these are the greeble things that I was talking about yesterday that I ordered that are 3D printed and then got that for some reason as well. So I'm going to look at these and possibly melt some of the rough edges down with my hot knife, but then hopefully I'm going to stack these on like these skewer things and possibly stab those into that box that is just kind of protecting the spray area from any like blowing dust and stuff. I'm gonna stick the skewers in that and then stack the beads on the skewers and get those primed as well. So this is definitely one of the more interesting setups, as you can see. But yeah, it does work. I put some tape in between them to separate them out a bit more, so I'm going to go ahead and actually spray prime those. I'm going to move that box over so it doesn't get any of that stuff blackened. But yeah, that's how the setup looks. Alright, so I got the beads all sprayed black. I got the other side of the Electro Ripper sprayed. I just remembered that I never sprayed the grate, so that's now sprayed. And then when I was letting that dry, I actually cut the tubing for the tabards. So like those things that I painted, there's tubes in the top, so got those cut. And that's actually all I can really do out here for now. So I think I'm going to go inside and finally spray or paint those beads that I meant to do last night but went to sleep instead. So there are the one type of bead, and then the smaller ones are over here on a string because their holes were smaller. I couldn't put them on a dowel. So these ones are actually done. Those ones are not done quite yet. But what I'm going to work on right now is actually sculpting the teeth. So I have this very strange looking setup that is foam around a pipe to keep the shape of the tooth while the epoxy sculpt is setting. But I'm going to first cut some wire for each tooth because that's how it's going to go on to the necklace type area. Alright, so it is like hours later. It's like 1 in the morning and I finally got all of the teeth sculpted. It took a really long time just to get all the wire cut and the loops made for certain ones. Not all have loops, some of them just have the wire piece in case I need it. But yeah, there's 25 teeth, and then I also ended up having to sculpt these beads. So yes, I'm headed off to bed, let these dry. They're probably not going to be dry by morning, but I've got a bunch of other stuff I can work on then. So I got quite a bit done yesterday, but I didn't film any of it because it was either really boring or unfilmable. So today is a super crazy painting day, but I will show you what I did yesterday. So the main thing that took a bunch of time was getting all of the finished teeth sanded so that they were rounded out a bit more, so they are a bag of teeth, a very dusty bag of teeth. I brought all of the greebles in. They're painted. I'm probably going to paint them a bit more. black, just the places the spray paint didn't get to. But then the main thing I finished up yesterday was the absolutely finished version of the Electro Ripper. So here's a little look at it fully assembled. And that. So here are the beads. So painted all of them and then attached them. So these two are together, and then this one is on like a separate red cord. I realized that around here, up here, was the same red cord, and then you have the leather wrapping, which I have weathered, and then more wrapping down there as well. So yes, the Electro Ripper is absolutely 100% finished now. Let's see, what else did I do? I think that was pretty much it. The teeth took a long time to sand, and it was like really messy, and I was like fully like ghost. Looked like I'd run through a bag of flour. White dust. So yes, today's plans is mainly paint, and more painting. So the bone pieces, the knee pad, these things, the beads, the teeth, painting, and more painting. So cue the multitude of painting time-lapse footage. So it is the end of the day. I mean, really, it's very early the next day, and I just thought I would show you overall what I got done today. So the teeth, I am pretty sure, are completely painted. I just put the lines on those. The beads are all painted, and then over here, I didn't even get to touch the bones today, but the leg blade things I'm pretty sure are all done. This side piece thing is finished, and then the knee pad is partially finished. Need to do some work on that still, and possibly touch up this a bit. But yeah, oh, and I did paint these beads as well that are for like underneath the chest box and stuff. But yes, that was the progress for the day, and that is actually going to be where I finish this week's Project Enfys video. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next week.